Odysseus and his crew reached Chryseis with their hecatomb, their sacred offerings for the god Apollo. In the deep-watered port they stowed away the sails and put down the anchor. Then they disembarked to the beach. They brought ashore the cattle for the sacrifice to Apollo. The beautiful Chryseis they brought ashore too, and returned her to her father. Odysseus spoke to the priest of Apollo. Agamemnon, king of men, has ordered me to return your daughter to you and to make a sacred offering of oxen to Apollo, in the hope that the god will end the plague that has brought so much suffering to the Greeks. The priest heard the words of Odysseus and joyfully welcomed his daughter, embracing her, and they both wept tears of joy. The sacred offering was prepared at the altar of Apollo. The men washed their hands and took up salt cakes, and the priest, with his hands held up to heaven, prayed, Apollo, lord of the silver bow, protector of Chryseis and the holy Scylla, ruler of Tenedos, you listened to my prayers before, when you punished the Greeks with your plague-sending arrows. Now, grant my wish and end the suffering of the Greeks. Revoke your anger and bring the plague to an end. Apollo heard his heartfelt prayer. The men made their prayers and threw grain over the victims. They drew back the heads of the oxen and slit their throats, then skinned them. For Apollo's portion they wrapped the thigh bones in folds of fat and put raw meat on top. These pieces the priest burned on wooden spits and poured libations of red wine over them. The men gathered around him holding 5-pronged forks. Once Apollo's portion had been burned, they ate the offal and carved the rest of the meat into small pieces. They pierced the meat with skewers and roasted it. When the meal was prepared, they feasted and all were fed to their satisfaction. Their hunger satisfied, the young men filled to the brim with wine the mixing bowls and went around the whole company, pouring some wine into each cup in honor of Apollo. For the rest of the day the young warriors sang and danced, celebrating Apollo with a beautiful hymn. Apollo listened to them sing with pleasure until twilight came. When darkness fell, the men laid down to sleep beside their ship. When rosy-fingered dawn appeared, the men set sail for the Greek camp. Apollo sent them a favourable breeze. The wind filled their sail and the dark sea roared against their keel as the ship sped home. Back at the camp, they dragged the ship onto the beach and made it upright with props. Then they went back to their own ships and huts. Achilles was sitting by his ship, his wrath burning. He had not fought beside the Greeks, nor attended their assemblies, where men win honour. He stayed where he was, longing for the din of the battlefield. 11 days passed since Achilles had told his mother Thetis of his troubles. On the 12th day, the immortal gods returned to Olympus, led by Zeus, who sends the storm clouds. Thetis, remembering her promise, at the first light of morning rose up from the depths of the sea and flew through the sky to Olympus. She saw Zeus sitting alone on the highest peak of the mountain. Thetis sat down in front of Zeus, took his chin in her right hand, put her left arm around his knees, and spoke in supplication to the greatest of the gods. Father Zeus, if I have ever served you well by word or deed, grant me this wish. Give honour to my son Achilles. Already his destiny is an early death, and now Agamemnon, king of men, has dishonoured him. Agamemnon took away Achilles' girl, a prize Achilles won with his sword, and now she belongs to Agamemnon. This is an insolent disgrace. I implore you to let the Trojans have the upper hand in battle until the Greeks right the wrong that has been done to Achilles, and give him the honour he is rightfully due. Zeus, most wise and most strong, gave no answer, but sat in silence for a long time with Thetis clinging to him in supplication. At length Zeus spoke. This is going to cause a lot of trouble, for you are urging works of death. My wife Hera will heap abuse on me when she hears about this. Things are bad enough as it is, as she tells the other gods that I am helping the Trojans in this war. You had better leave before Hera sees us. But first, I bow my head in agreement, a sure guarantee that the thing will be done. There will be no going back, no deception. Zeus bowed his head, and great Olympus shook as his divine locks rolled forward. Thetis plunged back into the depths of the sea, and Zeus left for his palace. All the gods rose to their feet when Zeus approached. Such was their respect for the greatest of the gods. Hera had seen Zeus talking to Thetis and knew they had been hatching a plot. She spoke harshly to Zeus. "So who have you been hatching a plot with now, you arch deceiver? It is just typical of you to wait until my back is turned to cook up some scheme, but without telling me. You have always kept your secrets from me." Zeus replied, "Hera, don't expect you know everything I decide. Even though you are my wife, you would find that knowledge hard to bear. No god or man will hear before you what it is fitting for you to know. But don't question me about decisions I make without the other gods." Hera replied, "What are you saying? You can't say I was ever one to pester you with questions. You are free to make any decisions you want. However, I fear that silver-footed Thetis has persuaded you to do something. She sat with you this morning and held you by the knees. I am supposing you have decided to help Achilles and let the Greeks be slaughtered beside their ships." Zeus, who sends the thunderbolts, replied, "You never stop supposing. I can't keep any secrets from you. But there is nothing you can do about it, and you can only make things worse for yourself. If you are right, you can take it that my will be done. Be silent and obey, or all the gods will be no help in stopping me putting hands on you." Hera was afraid and sat down in silence. The gods were all filled with consternation, till the great craftsman, the lame god Hephaestus, son of Zeus and Hera, spoke to his parents. "This looks like trouble, and we can't put up with it, with you two falling out over the fate of mere mortals. How can we enjoy a banquet when there is such a bad atmosphere? Hera, advise you to make peace with my father Zeus before things get out of hand. That will ruin our banquet. If he wanted to, Zeus could blast us all from our seats. Mother, please end your quarrel with your husband." Hephaestus hurried forward with a two-handled cup and put it in his mother's hands. He said, "Mother, be patient and swallow your resentment, or I might see you thrashed right here. That would be difficult to watch, and I wouldn't be able to watch. Once, when I was trying to help you, Zeus seized me by the foot and hurled me away from Olympus. I flew through the air and ended up on Lemnos as the sun set." White-armed Hera smiled and took the cup from her son. Then Hephaestus served everyone in turn, beginning at the left. He served sweet nectar from the mixing bowl, and all the gods laughed as he hobbled up and down. And so the banquet went on all day until the sun set. No one went short of food or music. For Apollo played his lyre and the muses sang, each voice beautiful and glorious. When the banquet ended, each god retired to the house that the god Hephaestus had built for them with supreme skill. Olympian Zeus, lord of the lightning, retired to his bed, where he slept with Hera of the golden throne beside him.